Your dozer's got a heartbeat, but no muscle. It rolls around just fine until you ask it to actually work. Hit a hill, it wheezes. Cut some dirt, forget it. Full throttle, and this 20-ton beast pushes like a tired old mule. So we play detective. And rule number 1, folks, before you blame the big expensive stuff, take its blood pressure. On an HST, that's charge pressure. Adjustment mode, code 3016, slap a gauge on the test port, right here. At neutral, the magic number is 440 psi. Come up short? Congratulations, there's a thief in the charge circuit. And I've got 5 suspects lined up, starting with the cheapest little crook of them all. Suspect number 1, the cheap little crook, the charge filter. Skip your oil changes and this thing clogs like a drain full of hair. Pressure can't get through and your dozer goes soft. Best part? Your machine snitches. Code 6091NX on the monitor. A $20 filter might be the whole fix. Not that lucky? Time to meet a nastier suspect. Filters clean? Meet suspect number 2, the charge safety valve. And this one's got a volume knob. See that adjustment screw? Crack the lock nut, turn it right, pressure climbs. One turn buys you 225 pounds per square inch. Turn left, it drops. So before you panic, give it a tweak. Sometimes the fix is just a screwdriver. But if you crank it and the gauge won't budge, folks, the screw's not the problem. Something deeper is bleeding you dry. Last suspect in the charge circuit, and the worst one, the charge pump itself. 2 rotors, 6 lobes inside 7, spinning like an old married couple. 10,000 hours of grinding, and they wear loose. Now they just slosh oil around instead of squeezing it. No pressure, no muscle. If the screw won't fix it, crack her open and check those rotors. Scored? Replace the set. But here's the twist, folks. What if your charge pressure is perfect and the dozer's still gutless? Then the crime scene moves. We're leaving the charge circuit and walking into the main circuit. You're on a slope, full throttle. The engine's screaming bloody murder, and your 20-ton dozer climbs like a grandma on a bicycle, beaten by a little hill. Your buddy says, "Pump shot, rebuild it." 15 grand. Ouch. But here's the dirty secret. Most of the time, the real thief costs less than a steak dinner. So put the wallet away. We're catching him red-handed. Fire up the monitor, punch in adjustment code 3016, stall check. Lock those tracks against the load and let her stall. Now the machine confesses. A healthy dozer slams that needle between 5,700 and 6,540 pounds per square inch, pure muscle. But a sick one chokes at 3,000 and just gives up. That's your crime scene. And suspect number 1 was hired as a bodyguard, the safety suction valve. One job, keep the pressure locked in. But where is pop it or weaken a spring and the bodyguard opens the back door? Your high-pressure oil walks straight out to the charge side. Pull him, check the poppet and spring. Scored or weak? $40 fix, done. But if he's innocent, something far nastier is hiding inside. The bodyguard checked out clean, so there's only one move left, folks. We put this pump on the table and cut it wide open. Say hello to the HST pump, all 15 parts of it hanging out for the whole world to see. And let me introduce the cast. Most of these guys are saints. Number 1, the shaft spins all day, never complains. The bearings roll around like they're on vacation. The end cap just stands at the door looking important. Sweethearts, every one. But every crime needs a villain, And ours is the guy nobody suspects, the quiet little piston. Looks innocent, acts polite. Meanwhile, he's slamming up and down 1,000 times a minute, 10,000 hours straight, riding on an oil film thinner than your hair. Treat him right, he'll pull a mountain. Starve him of clean oil, he turns into your most expensive enemy. And what this innocent little guy does when he goes bad is downright criminal. Take a look. Remember that polite little piston? The quiet one? Yeah, turn around, because he's got a mugshot now. On the left, that's his profile picture from his first day. Smooth, shiny, sealing tight, total gentleman. And on the right, that's him after 10,000 hours in a steady diet of dirty oil. Scarred, scored, copper shoes peeling off like a bad sunburn. Folks, this isn't wear and tear. This is a felony. See every one of those scratches? Congratulations, you just installed 100 tiny exit doors, and your horsepower is sprinting out all of them at once. No alarm, no light. Just 20 tons of dozer slowly turning into a lawn ornament while you scream at a hill. And the bill for this little crime spree? A full rebuild. Pistons, block, the whole gang, and your wallet just fainted. But wait, before you sign that check and cry, we never check the one suspect who doesn't leak, doesn't wear, and doesn't make a sound. He talks in pure electricity, and if he pulled this job, then you almost gutted a perfectly healthy pump for nothing. Let's go meet him. So you've checked everything. Charge pressure? Perfect. Main pressure? Perfect. The pump's a saint. And yet this machine still pushes like it's running on decaf. At this point, most guys throw their hat in the dirt and start pricing out a rebuild. Don't, because there's one suspect we haven't sweated yet, and he's the slickest con artist in the whole gang. He doesn't leak, doesn't grind, doesn't make a peep. He just sits up top, whispering orders. The EPC valve, your pump's personal translator. You stomp the lever screaming, "Go!" and this little guy turns it into the only language the pump speaks. Oil pressure. But get him lazy, and he mumbles. You yell, "Full power!" He shrugs and goes, half's fine. And boom, 20 tons of steel suddenly pushes like it's apologizing. Here's how you put him under the lamp. 4 little ports up top. That's his mouth. Gauge 1 and listen. Sit in neutral. He should be dead silent. A clean 0. That's a good boy. Now bump the lever, forward or reverse, and he'd better belt out at least 1 full megapascal. 148 psi of "Yes, boss." Catch him whispering anything less, and folks, you found your rat. But before we throw the book at him, what if the little guy's innocent and someone just cut his phone line? Now here's the kicker. Our little translator? He's an idiot. A loyal idiot, but an idiot. He can't think. He just does whatever the boss texts him. And the boss is a black box bolted under your seat. The HST controller. The brain. So the whole operation is basically the brain texting the valve all day long. Push. Push harder. Easy now. A non-stop group chat made of electricity. And it works great until the texts stop going through. Maybe the valve's coil burned out. Phone's dead, straight to voicemail. Maybe a mouse spent the winter eating your wiring harness like it's a buffet. Maybe a connector's so crusty and green it looks like it grew its own broccoli. Or, the sneaky one, the brain's gone senile and starts texting garbage. You ask for full power, it sends "lol," "no," a couple of weak little milliamps, and the valve just shrugs. So don't you dare blame the valve yet. Grab your multimeter, ring that coil, walk the wire from the brain to the pump. Hunt for the dead spot. Because the best translator in the world is useless if his boss keeps butt dialing him. Fix the line, and the messages fly again. Now, let's go find exactly where this loyal little idiot is hiding. All right, so you want to meet this loyal little idiot face to face? Here he is, number 5 on the pump, the EPC valve, sitting right up top like he owns the place. And honestly, for such a tiny guy, he's got the ego of a foreman. Look at him up there, surrounded by the big shots, the servo valves, the charge pump, the whole muscle crew doing the heavy lifting. And this little squirt, he never lifts a thing. He just stands there pointing, bossing 20 tons of steel around with nothing but a whisper of oil. It's like the smallest guy on the job site somehow being in charge of all the bulldozers. And somehow, he actually is. So now you know his face, you know his voice, and you know his phone number. You've caught every suspect in the lineup. Charge pressure, main pressure, the bodyguard valve, the pistons, and this bossy little translator. The investigation's basically closed. But knowing who did it isn't the same as fixing it. Because here's the million-dollar question nobody's answered yet. Once you found the guilty one, how do you actually dial all that pressure back to perfect? Grab a wrench and stick around, because this is where we turn a dead dozer back into a beast. All right, the investigation's over. Now comes the fun part, the surgery. And here's the best-kept secret in the whole shop. Half the time, you don't replace a single part. You just turn a screw. That's it. See this little guy? Screw number 7 with his bodyguard, lock nut number 8. This is the volume knob for your entire machine's muscle, and it's stupidly simple. One full turn to the right, boom, you just added 225 pounds per square inch, like cranking the bass at a backyard party. Spin it left, pressure drops, party's over. So if your charge pressure's been sagging, limp, sad, half dead at the gauge, you just dial it right back up to a healthy 440 psi and watch the machine wake up. But, and this is where guys get cocky and ruin everything, you gotta crack that lock nut loose first. Forget it and you'll strip the threads trying to force it, and now you've turned a 2-minute fix into a very bad afternoon. Loosen the nut, make your turn, lock it back down nice and snug. Easy. But here's the thing, folks. The pump isn't the only place hiding a magic screw. There's a second one, and it's hiding way out on the motor. And meet suspect screw number 2, the runaway, hiding all the way out on the motor like he owes somebody money. That's adjustment screw 10, with his nervous little sidekick, lock nut 11. Same circus, different tent. Out here, one full turn buys you 1.02 megapascal, a crisp 148 psi, or as the pump hears it, one solid, let's go! But when you lock 'em down, listen to me, do not hulk out on that nut. There's a magic window, 58.8 to 78.5 Newton meters. Too loose, and he wanders off mid-job like a bored teenager. Too tight, and snap! Congratulations, you just turned a screw into a very expensive metal toothpick. You want it just right. Goldilocks, but with grease under her nails. And that, ladies and gentlemen, closes the case. Rewind the whole thing. 20 tons of dozer, crawling up a hill like a grandma on a bicycle with a flat tire. And what did we do? We didn't cry. We didn't hand the bank 15 grand. We grabbed a gauge and a screwdriver and went full detective. Busted the leaky bodyguard valve, the pistons with the copper sunburn, that mumbling little EPC who only does half his job, and we caught the real crook red-handed. Now fire her up. Aim her at that exact same hill and watch her march up it like she's got a grudge and something to prove. Chef's kiss. That feeling? Better than coffee. So now it's your turn, boss. Hit me in the comments. Who do we hunt next? The machine that overheats and rage quits halfway through the day? Or the one that screams like a haunted house but won't move an inch? Cast your vote and I'll sharpen the wrenches. Smash subscribe so the next case lands right in your lap. And as always, folks, I'll see you in the shop.